Thank you. Let me start the recording. Okay. So, what we had discussed yesterday, roll number 112, 112. Please unmute yourself. Yes, what we had discussed yesterday, can you tell me?
Yes, ma'am. We discussed the constructors and the type of constructor.
Okay, which types we had discussed?
Ma'am, the default constructor and I actually don't. Something from P. I don't remember.
Okay, okay. Roll number 119. Roll number 119 is there. 19. I'm noting down the roll numbers if you're not
Yes, ma'am.
responding.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. What we had discussed yesterday?
Ma'am, constructor
Mhm.
and you did some coding and
I'm talking about OP, not PBL.
okay.
याद है क्या थे क्या लेक्चर में? Okay, roll number 150, 150. Not there.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You're there. Okay.
Yes.
What is default constructor?
Default constructor is without parameter.
Okay. And 161, roll number 161. Not there. Okay. Roll number 236.
Yes, ma'am.
What is parameterized constructor?
Ma'am, it is with the argument.
Which type of argument? Of argument? Don't know. You're not audible. Okay, next. 44. 244.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. What is parameterized constructor, beta?
It is a constructor which requires argument. It can be built-in data type or it can be object.
It can be object for a parameterized constructor.
No, ma'am. No, sorry.
Very good.
Ma'am, वो built-in data
Okay.
data type ही लेगा तो.
Built-in data type. Okay, very good. What is the third type of constructor? Roll number 263. 263. What is?
Copy constructor.
Yes. Can you tell me what is copy constructor?
Ma'am, in copy constructor, the arguments is of user-defined data types, like object.
Okay. So we had discussed yesterday what is constructor. Fine. Constructor is a member function of a class. It is having the same name as of your class name. I'll again share that PPT. Fine. We'll just revise in a minute and then we'll move ahead. So we had discussed about the constructors. Constructors are nothing but they are the member functions of a class, and constructors are used to initialize your class objects with some value. Fine. So there are different types of constructors. We have seen default constructor when there is no parameter. Second one is parameterized constructor. That means a constructor having inbuilt data types as a parameter. And the third one is the copy constructor. That means and constructor which is having the object as a parameter. So these are the three basic types of constructors. Yesterday I had discussed that there is one more type of constructor which is default argument constructor. Now what is default argument constructor? It is similar to parameterized one. The only thing is the formal parameter value is initialized in that. Fine, in the same argument list. So that is a default parameterized. So you default argument. So you just forget about it for some time. Just remember these three. That is default, parameterize, and copy constructor. Fine. There are certain rules that we need to follow. Can anyone tell me what are those rules? Raise your hands, those who know. Raise your hands, those who know the rules for using the constructor. Only one hand is raised. We have two divisions, around 150 students, and only one hand is raised. It is not like that I have not discussed it. Okay, let it be. I'm not going to waste time. Yes, roll number 137.
Yes, ma'am. First
Yes,
rule is
Peter.
data member
Yes,
of class are initialized. Name of constructor is same as the name of the class, and a
very good.
constructor has no type, that is no written type. Every member function defined in public section of the class, if it implicitly called by the compiler at the time of object, if it is not declared defined in code, it can be defined outside the class.
Okay, what you said about the return type?
A constructor has no type, means no return type.
Okay, very good. Okay,
Thank
very
you.
good. Very good. So these are the certain rules which are there with that we need to follow when we are using an constructor. You can lower your hand beta now. 137. So constructor is a member function which shares the same name as of your class name. Fine. So that we need to keep in mind that name of the constructor should be same as your class name. Even though if you're not using the constructor, default constructor will get called by the C++ compiler. Fine. There is no return type for the compiler. This is most important thing. Otherwise, your compiler will give you an error. Fine. Then you can use number of constructors, parameterized constructor in the same code. It is not like कि आप एक ही parameterized constructor use करोगे. You can use number of parameterized constructor. But in that case, the number of argument should be differ or the data type should be differ. Is it okay? So these are the certain rules that we need to keep in mind when we are talking about the constructors. Yesterday, we had discussed about this. Fine. So class name, you know about the syntaxes. When there is no argument, it is default. When there is an argument of inbuilt, it is parameterized. And when there is an argument of class type, that is object, it is called as a copy constructor. Now, I'll take 5 minutes and very fastly, I'll just show you how the constructor gets implemented instead of showing this thing. Yesterday in PBL also, I had demonstrated that. Fine. So for other students, I will demonstrate it here. Just I'm using a compiler, online compiler. Is it visible, students? B division and A3, A4 batch.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
It is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay, okay. So I'll try to write it here. I will explain you how the compiler, how the code we are writing in C++. So whatever we had discussed till now, that we will do here, and then we will move on to your static, static keywords. So that is the next part of our first unit. So before moving on to that, let's clear your doubts if you're having it. Fine. So Just imagine I'm working with the online compiler as I'm having some issues with Eclipse. So we are trying to resolve it. Till then I will just use an online compiler just to demonstrate you that how we can execute or how we can write lines of code in C++. So you all know that we have to include a header file iostream. Iostream is basically a class. Is it okay? It's a class which contains the definitions of your object cin and cout. IOStream is a base class of iStream and OStream class. Then we need to include a namespace std. What do you mean by that? Std is a standard and namespace is a global space where all your identifiers are declared. What do you mean by identifiers? So every keyword which is coming in your code, for example, cin, cout, end l, fine, every keyword which is there, main, find class, these all are nothing but keywords identifiers for me. So they are defined in a global space, and that space is called as a namespace whose name is std, that is standard. That's why we need to include it. Fine. So I'm including it by using namespace std. Now what I will do, I'll show you. I'm writing a code. Okay, I'm writing here a main. Fine. Now I'll simply write here one statement, cout. If I wanted to print something, fine. So I need to include double, inverted commas. So if something you just wanted to print, onto the console or the screen, for example, hello. So this message I just wanted to print. So I will just write this one. So, okay, can anyone tell me that, can I say this is an OOP program?
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
Ma'am, cout is object.
Very good. See, even though I'm not writing a class here, I'll just open this on one side so that I will see the participant screen also. Okay, fine. So, okay. So see, in this code, I'm not writing any class, but still I am including an object cout and iostream. So it becomes my C++ code. Otherwise, some students may think that, ma'am, you're not writing a class, so why it is in C++ program? But I will say that C++ program doesn't require a class explicitly. Even though if you're writing here iostream, it's a class, inbuilt class, right? So once you're writing this, this becomes in C++ code. Now let's try to execute this. So I will just click on run. It is giving me an error, some kind of. Fine. So if you remember, I told you in the C++, the compiler understands or requires the return type of main as an integer. In C, by default, it is void. That is, no value is getting returned. But in C++ compiler, the value for the main, some value should get returned. So return type will be by default integer. So if it is integer, I will return something here, for example, 0. Now let's run it again. So on the console, I'm getting an output, hello. What I did, I simply wrote a main and I simply wrote a cout. This operator is called as insertion operator because it is inserting the data onto the console. Fine. And when we are taking the data from the user, that operator is called as an extraction operator because we are extracting the data from the keyboard. Fine, from the user. One more thing, students, जो भी मैं बोल रही हूँ, whatever you are thinking, if you are thinking that you need to write, you should write in your copy. Is it okay? So have an habit, it's a coding subject. So have an habit, whatever syntaxes or whatever things I'm saying, if you're having any doubt, either you can raise your hand, fine, or you can note down the things in your copy. And at the end, just let me know what are your doubts. So this is the simple thing for that is simple basic code of your C++. Any doubt with this? Any doubt with this? You can put
No,
in the
ma'am.
chat box.
No,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay. Chalo. So let's move ahead. Now what I will do, I will try to add my class. So I will add one class here. I'll give a name class student. One more important thing. Class is a keyword. I told you, class is a keyword and it's a case sensitive language. Fine. So, the first letter of class should be a small. If you are writing it in the capital, your compiler will give you an error. Fine. So, it should be small. Is it okay? So, I have written a class. How you are telling the compiler that your class is ended? Which syntax, which symbol you are using for showing that class is ended here?
Semicolon, ma'am.
Very good. So at the end of this brace, you will write down a semicolon. That means this is the ending. And what is this concept or the feature called as? Can anyone tell me? We had discussed this when I have, discussed about the features of OOP. To which feature you can say this is an example? Anyone remember this?
Encapsulation.
Very good, very good. So this is encapsulation. Just a capsule, class, fine. And inside that, I'm having the data members and the member functions. So what is class? It's a collection of data members and the member functions. Fine. So now I will write down something inside my class. So I will take roll number. I'll just take a roll number. I may take a name also. You can also take a character. Fine. Character array you can take. So I'm taking data members. Now this one side is done. Now I will add member function. So one member function I may take as in void insert just to take the data from the user. I'm adding insert. Fine. And other can be, for example, void display. Now, okay, एक का definition I will write down outside. Chalo. Now this is insert. Sorry. So these are what? Roll number and name. See, this is there should be a two-way communication when we are doing this kind of things. Okay, it cannot be one way. So you need to answer or you need to communicate when I'm talking something. Okay. So what are these? Roll number and name. Be fast. Imagine that we are in the physical class only.
Variables.
Very good. These are the variables. You can also rename it as in what?
Data members.
Data members. These are the
Data
data
members.
members. Yes. And these are what? Member functions of the class.
Member
Right? Very good. So what I will do now, I have written a member function here, insert. Those who are having laptops of the PCs, they can also try it side by side with me so that it will be easy to understand for them also. Now what I
Ma'am,
want, I
member
wanted to,
function should be public now.
just a minute better, wait, no? Wait, I'm doing the things one by one so that I will show you the errors also and then your doubts will also be cleared. It is for all the students because there are all categories of students in the class, right? So we'll go step by step, okay? Is it okay, beta?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So
Yes.
I will write down here. I will just print a message, see out, enter details. I will write enter student details. Okay. So once I wrote this, see out, that means this thing will get display onto my console. यहाँ पे display होगा. Fine. Now I wanted to take this data input from the user. So which object I am going to use? I am going to use cin. Very good. And which operator? Extraction operator. Fine. And now, what is my first data member? I will say roll, semicolon. Fine. Then what I wanted next? I wanted name from the user. So I will just take input name. Now I have written 3 lines here. One is cout, one is cin to take the roll number from the user and to take the name from the user. Can you combine these two? You can also combine these two. So I will just comment it, and you can also write like this in one line. आप ऐसा भी कर सकते हो. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Pakka? Okay. So done. This is an insert. Now, this is function I had written inside my class. I want another function display which is going to display these details, and I want that function definition should be written outside the class. Roll number 117.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, beta. Can you tell me what is the syntax of writing the function definition outside the class? How can I write down this function outside the class?
Ma'am, return type, class
Just tell
name,
me how
space
can I
name,
write for this?
void.
Very good.
What is class name? A student.
Not there or what?
Scope resolution.
Hmm.
Display function.
Display. Fine. So this is nothing
Yes.
but with the help of scope resolution, I'll be writing a definition of the function outside the class. Now, what should I write inside this? I just want to print that roll number and name. Anyone?
Cout.
Very
See
good.
out.
I will simply
See
write
out.
down cout. Cout what?
Name and roll. Roll
I
and
will
name.
just display the value which I have taken in that data member. So I will take roll number and I want some space in between. So I have given some space. Fine. And then I am inserting new, that is name. This is one thing, one way you can write. Fine. Now let's try to execute it. Now, when I wanted to execute it, what will be my first statement in the main?
Class name and create object.
I need to create an object. Very
Yes,
good. So I'll be creating an object. So student space your variable name. So I will give my variable will be S1. Now, can anyone tell me where the control will go after the statement?
Constructor.
Default constructor. Okay.
Constructor.
Default constructor. I have not written default constructor here, but still compiler will pass on the control to the constructor and it will initialize this roll number and name with some garbage value. Okay, fine. Later we are going to add this, but for now I am not going to add it. So I did this thing. Then I just wanted to give call to my function. So I will be writing S1. Which operator we will be using?
Dot operator.
Dot. Very good. And then I'll be writing a name of my function. Insert. Just give a call to your function. Next function S1 dot display. Now, as someone said, this code will give me an error. I will execute it. I will show you this will give me an error. What kind of error? A member function I have written inside the private visibility. The visibility is private, but I am calling it from main. इसका visibility यहाँ तक ही है till this semicolon, but still I am accessing it from main. So that will be an error. So let's try. I am executing it. See, insert and display, they are not accessible. They are the private one. Getting? So what I will do? What I will do?
Make them public.
I will make it as in public. How to write a public? Again, it's a keyword identifier. So case sensitive hai, so P should be small. Public colon. If you're writing only this one, publics and like leave it, there will be an error. It should be ended with a colon. Is it okay? One more thing. If I'm writing this function, for example, I'm just removing it from here and putting in the private section. Now my void, the display is a private function. So insert would get called from here. This is valid. ओके यहाँ से ये कॉल होगा. व्हाट अबाउट दिस डिस्प्ले? ये कॉल होगा क्या?
No, ma'am.
No, but I wanted to execute that display. So from where I will call it?
From public.
Sorry,
Outside
this
the
is the
class.
private.
Resolution.
This is the private member function. This is the public member function. Public member function can be accessed from the main by the object. Private cannot be. But I wanted to execute display. How can I?
And inside the insert.
From
Very
inside.
good. Yes.
And inside the
Someone
public function.
someone said yes, private member functions cannot be accessed from outside the class. They can be only accessed from the public member functions of the same class. तो अगर आपको डिस्प्ले कॉल करना है जो अगर आपका डिस्प्ले प्राइवेट है सो व्हाट कैन आई डू? आई विल सिंपली गिव अ कॉल फ्रॉम हियर. सो आई विल सिंपली गिव अ कॉल फ्रॉम display like this. That's it. There is no need for creating an object. आप पब्लिक फंक्शन के अंदर से प्राइवेट फंक्शन को डायरेक्टली कॉल करोगे. यहां तक किसी को डाउट है?
मैम
यस.
मैम डिस्प्ले फंक्शन अगर हमने बाहर डिक्लेयर किया तो उससे कुछ विजिबिलिटी पे फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा क्या?
कहाँ डिक्लेयर किया आपने?
नहीं,
तो
मतलब डिक्लेयर अंदर किया लेकिन उसका डिफाइन बाहर किया ना, मतलब हमने उसका
कुछ नहीं होता ना. इट्स अ मेंबर फंक्शन ऑफ द क्लास, राइट?
यस.
Though it is private, but still it's a member function of the class. You are defining the member function outside the class and you are including here a class name. So it doesn't have any issue. Compiler understand कि ये function है, ये private हो या public हो, उसको फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा.
नहीं नहीं,
Still
मैं
it's
फंक्शन के विजिबिलिटी का बात कर रहा हूँ मैम. हमने उसको क्लास के
visibility वहाँ.
बाहर डिफाइन किया ना.
Okay, I understood what you mean to say. सी आपने इसको प्राइवेट लिखा है. इसका लाइफ टाइम यहाँ तक है. मतलब क्या? क्लास के अंदर तक है. क्लास के अंदर तक है. यू आर राइटिंग डेफिनेशन हियर बट स्टिल यू आर इंक्लूडिंग क्लास हियर ना. आपने लिखा है void student. Student is what? A class name, right? So you are telling the compiler कि ये display function student class का है. Though you are writing it outside, you are not accessing it. You are just writing the definition outside it. So this is valid. You are not accessing it. Accessing means different. आप दूसरी बॉडी में जा रहे हो. ये क्लास का ही बॉडी है. दिस इज द क्लास एंड दिस इज ऑल्सो अ क्लास. बस ये सिंटैक्स है कि आप फंक्शन बाहर डिफाइन कर रहे हो. दैट्स इट. इट डजंट मीन कि आप क्लास के बाहर आ रहे हो. अगर आपने ऐसा लिखा, आई जस्ट मेक हियर अ चेंज, तो ये गलत हुआ. अगर आपने सिंपल वॉइड डिस्प्ले लिखा तो ये गलत हुआ, राइट? अभी एरर देगा अगर मैं एग्जीक्यूट करूंगी तो. लेट्स एग्जीक्यूट दिस. इसने एरर दिया.
यस मैम.
ठीक है. इट डजंट रिकॉग्नाइज व्हाट इज नेम एंड रोल नंबर क्योंकि ये प्राइवेट बोला आपने और आपने यहाँ पे क्लास के बाहर आके डिफाइन किया उसको. कंपाइलर को बता ही नहीं रहे हो ना आप कि वो मेंबर फंक्शन किसका है. बट अगर आप यहाँ पे सिंटैक्स फॉलो कर रहे हो, लाइक यू आर राइटिंग द the memory or the class name with the scope resolution, now वो कंपाइलर को पता है कि ये उसी का फंक्शन है. आप बस उसको डिफाइन बाहर कर रहे हो, उसका स्कोप बाहर नहीं ला रहे हो. उसका स्कोप क्लास के अंदर ही है. ओके.
यस मैम.
सो नाउ इट इज अंडरस्टूड. पब्लिक प्राइवेट फंक्शन को हमने पब्लिक के अंदर से कॉल किया है. सो लेट्स एग्जीक्यूट दिस. सो क्या था? फ्रॉम हियर द कंट्रोल विल कम हियर. इंसर्ट में जाएगा. इंसर्ट में हमने क्या लिखा है? एंटर स्टूडेंट डिटेल्स. सो आई विल इंसर्ट समथिंग हियर, फॉर एग्जांपल 45 एंड मे बी ए. एंटर. इट इज शोइंग मी. उसके बाद क्या हुआ? इनपुट लिया एंड डिस्प्ले कॉल हुआ. डिस्प्ले में मैंने क्या किया है? रोल नंबर एंड स्पेस नेम. एंटर. जस्ट एग्जीक्यूटेड. हुआ एग्जीक्यूट. इसके प्रीवियस भी एग्जीक्यूट हुआ था जब आपने यहां से कॉल किया था, बट इन दैट केस योर डिस्प्ले वाज पब्लिक एंड नाउ आई एम कॉलिंग इट फ्रॉम हियर. In that case, my display is private. In both the cases, my code is getting executed. Any doubt till this point?
नो मैम.
No, ma'am.
पक्का?
हाँ मैम.
Don't be shy. अगर आपको डाउट्स है आप चैट में डालो. Fine. Now, shall we move ahead?
यस मैम.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Later we saw constructor. So now we are going to add the constructor. Okay. मैंने आपको बोला कि when I'm writing this, I'm creating an object. What will get called constructor? What is a constructor? It's a member function of a class which is sharing the same name as of your class name. Sorry. Sorry. Then constructor is going to initialize the इंस्टेंस ऑफ योर क्लास मतलब कंस्ट्रक्टर क्या करेगा ऑब्जेक्ट को इनिशियलाइज करेगा व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय इनिशियलाइज द ऑब्जेक्ट दैट मींस इनडायरेक्टली डेटा मेंबर्स को इनिशियलाइज करेगा ओके so let's try to add the constructors here so I will add some constructors in my code I'll go in the public section and here I will add the constructor fine what is the name it should be a student another constructor this one is which type of constructor default
Default.
Yes, default.
here I will add some parameter I will make as an int r and string n which type of constructor
Parametric.
parameterized very good fine पहले ये दो देख लेते हैं उसके बाद we'll move on to copy constructor so this is default constructor fine so मतलब यहाँ से कॉल कहाँ जाएगा आपका default constructor from this line call to default done now from here the control is coming here so I'm saying that when control is coming to default constructor it is going to initialize my object that means data members of my object now what are the data members of s1 जो आपके क्लास के डेटा मेंबर्स है वो ही आपके ऑब्जेक्ट के होंगे वेरी गुड फाइन नाउ वन मोर इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग yesterday some students they ask me a doubt see when I'm talking about the data members of a class वो डेटा मेंबर्स की कॉपी सारे ऑब्जेक्ट्स में रिफ्लेक्ट होंगी मतलब क्या if I'm having s1 so s1 will have its own copy of roll number and name I'm creating s2 will have its own copy of roll number and name then I'm having s3 will have its own copy of roll number and name okay so when I'm giving call to s1 dot insert that insert is going to get called for s1 when I am going to give call to this insert is going to get call for s1 मतलब s1 के रोल नंबर में s1 के नेम में आपने डेटा इनपुट किया ओके देन व्हेन आई एम गोइंग टू गिव कॉल टू मे बी s2 डॉट इंसर्ट तो जो भी आप इंसर्ट करोगे वो किसकी मेमोरी में जाएगा s2 की मेमोरी में जाएगा ओके देन s3 की मेमोरी में जाएगा लाइकवाइज every object will have the own copy of data members don't get confused in it is it okay memory allocation होता है जब आप constructor कॉल करते हो by default कितना memory allocate होगा for one object जितना आपका class का memory है how you will identify the memory आप बस addition करोगे data members and member functions के data type का that's it that much memory is going to get allocated to your object individual object any doubt any doubt
No, ma'am.
no okay chalo so here I am giving call to my default constructor now my first task is I want to just initialize that roll number and name so what is my data member roll it was a roll okay I will just initialize it with 0 I don't want that it should be a garbage it should print me some value so मैंने इसको 0 बोल दिया okay and then I want that the name should be it's a string so I'll be writing in the double inverted commas so I want it should be xyz initialization is done fine
मैम
yes
मैम जब हम लोग ऐसा स्ट्रिंग डिक्लेयर करते हैं तो उसका साइज नहीं डिक्लेयर करना होता है क्या
no not required string means collection of characters अगर आप साइज डिक्लेयर करोगे तो वो स्ट्रिंग का एरे हो गया you can declare an array of character you can declare an array of string यहाँ पे string का length declare करने की जरूरत नहीं है any number of characters you can include in that string in C++, we have a string class actually, which is there, C string class. So because of that, we have this benefit. Internal class है, जैसे आपका वहाँ पे std था ना, library.
हाँ
वैसे यहाँ पे we have one C string class, which plays with all these strings. So
तो
there
मैम
is no
अभी
need
आपने
to.
बोला ना कि वो
Yes.
हर ऑब्जेक्ट अपना मेमोरी लेगा क्लास से, तो अभी इंट
Yes.
का सपोज 4 बाइट्स है, तो स्ट्रिंग नेम जो डिक्लेयर किया उसका कितना बाइट्स आएगा डेटा टाइप?
अभी कितना है यहाँ पे स्ट्रिंग में, कितने कैरेक्टर्स है नेम में, जितना आप इनपुट ले रहे हो, अगर
हाँ।
मैंने XYZ डाला तो कितना आया 3, तो वो ऑब्जेक्ट के लिए कितना हो जाएगा 2 + 3 5. आपने नेक्स्ट ऑब्जेक्ट लिया S2, उसमें आपने लिया
मतलब
नेम
वो सर
मे बी
रिलेटिव है ना
ABCD.
सर,
यस. हाँ.
डिफॉल्ट नहीं है ना, वो रिलेटिव रहेगा ना,
नहीं
जितना भी
नहीं नहीं,
इनपुट करेंगे।
रिलेटिव रहेगा. हाँ, मैं वही बोल रही हूँ ना, देयर इज नो लिमिटेशन फॉर दैट.
ओके मैम,
देयर इज नो लिमिटेशन. स्ट्रिंग बोला है मतलब n नंबर ऑफ कैरेक्टर्स यू कैन ऐड.
ओके
ओके. सो वेर आई वॉज, हाँ, तो यहाँ पे मैंने डिफॉल्ट कंस्ट्रक्टर कॉल किया. अब मुझे वैल्यू डिस्प्ले करना है. सो व्हाट आई विल डू, आई विल जस्ट बिफोर इंसर्ट मैं यहाँ पे s1 डॉट डिस्प्ले कॉल करती हूँ. मतलब ये क्या होगा, पहले यहाँ से कंट्रोल आपका आएगा डिफॉल्ट कंस्ट्रक्टर पे. दिस वैल्यूज विल गेट इनिशियलाइज्ड फॉर विच, फॉर s1, एंड देन डिस्प्ले आई एम गिविंग कॉल. तो डिस्प्ले में आपका क्या प्रिंट होगा, 0 and XYZ. Then I'm giving call to s1 dot insert. फिर यहाँ से आपका कंट्रोल जाएगा insert पे. You are taking the user's value, fine, which are defined by the application programmer, and फिर आप उसको display करोगे. So that's it. Understood?
यस मैम.
Yes, ma'am.
So let's execute it. Private. Okay. वो प्राइवेट में डाला था ना फंक्शन, इसलिए उसने एरर दिया. तो आई हैड मूव्ड इट टू पब्लिक. नाउ सी, कंपाइलर कंट्रोल विल कम ऑन टू मेन. फिर कंपाइलर का कंट्रोल आया यहाँ पे. फ्रॉम हियर द कंट्रोल इज पास टू डिफॉल्ट कंस्ट्रक्टर. डिफॉल्ट कंस्ट्रक्टर पे आया. व्हाट इज द वैल्यू ऑफ रोल नंबर एंड नेम, 0 and XYZ. उसके बाद मैंने डिस्प्ले कॉल किया. तो डिस्प्ले कॉल करने के बाद उसने क्या प्रिंट किया, 0 and XYZ आया. नेक्स्ट फिर हमने कॉल किया s1 डॉट इंसर्ट. यहाँ से कंट्रोल हमारा गया इंसर्ट फंक्शन में. वी आर स्टिल इन द सेम ऑब्जेक्ट s1, फाइन. एंड देन द कंट्रोल कम्स टू हियर, एंटर स्टूडेंट डिटेल्स. एंड फिर अगर आप कोई डिटेल्स ले रहे हो, मे बी 10 and n फॉर एग्जाम्पल. बट डिस्प्ले कॉल नहीं हुआ क्या? ओके, यहाँ मैंने डिस्प्ले को कमेंट कर दिया. So यहाँ पे I will take 10 and n. So it will print my next value 10 and n. Previously it was 0 and XYZ by default. फिर मैंने यूजर से वैल्यू लिया तो मेरा वैल्यू आया 10 and n. समझ में आया? So default constructor आपने जब कॉल किया तो वैल्यू इंस्टेड ऑफ गार्बेज सम वैल्यू यू हैड असाइंड. मैंने यहाँ पे डिस्प्ले इसलिए कॉल किया कि आपको डिस्प्ले हो कि व्हाट इज गोइंग इंटरनली. इज इट ओके? वन मोर थिंग, यहाँ पे देखो एक चीज हो रही है, 0 स्पेस XYZ आया आपका. उसके बाद यहाँ पे कुछ स्पेस नहीं आया है. दैट नेक्स्ट स्टेटमेंट इज क्लोज टू दिस वन. सो ये कहाँ प्रिंट हुआ आपका, डिस्प्ले में. यू आर कॉलिंग डिस्प्ले, डिस्प्ले में ये चीज प्रिंट हुआ. सो व्हाट आई विल डू, आई वांट टू जस्ट मूव माय कंट्रोल टू द नेक्स्ट लाइन. सो आई विल यूज अ आइडेंटिफायर end l. End l means end this line and pass the control to the new line. Now let's see. So देखो अभी आपका कंट्रोल नेम के बाद कहाँ आया, नेक्स्ट लाइन में. एंड देन आई विल एंटर मे बी नेक्स्ट डेटा. ओके. So this is with respect to a default constructor. Yes.
Slash backslash n मैम.
Sorry. बैकस्लैश n भी वर्क करता है, एक्लिप्स में वर्क करता है. ऑनलाइन कंपाइलर में मैंने यूज नहीं किया, एक्लिप्स में वर्क करता है. I will try. Even you have no for see यहाँ पे error दिया उसने.
Ma'am, backslash will be in as a string.
No string दिया तो वो print होगा.
No, ma'am. Ma'am, split character.
हाँ ऐसे भी हुआ. Simple single character में भी चलता है. ठीक है? So either you can use this, either you can use endl. क्या हुआ? Okay. Execution हो रहा है ना यहाँ पे. That's why. So यहाँ पे आप endl भी लिख सकते हो. Is it okay? Shit, sorry. So this was about your, simple constructor. Now let's go to parameterized constructor. So I will try to write this parameterized constructor outside my class. I will just copy this. Syntax will be. Syntax कैसा आएगा? Return type of constructor.
Ma'am, constructor doesn't have return type.
So क्या लिखना पड़ेगा मुझे यहाँ पे?
Class name, then scope resolution.
Very good. It should be student directly, scope resolution and student. So this is the definition of my parameterize. Now what I want, यहाँ पे मैंने roll number and name को 0 and some value से initialize किया. अब मुझे यहाँ पे roll number and name को in parameters से initialize करना है. So statement क्या आएगा?
Ma'am, roll number is equal to R.
R equal to R
Roll is equals to R.
and N equal to N.
Roll is equal to R.
Very
Name
good.
is equal to N.
Very good.
N equal
Right?
to N.
Yes. So जो आप वैल्यू पास कर रहे हो यहाँ से पास करोगे वो वैल्यू यहाँ जाएगा and that will get assigned to your roll number. Now what I will do, I will play with my another object. So यहाँ पे मैंने एक other object create किया S2. So S2 के लिए I want that parameterized constructor should get called. So what I do need to do here, I need to pass parameters. What is the type of the first parameter? Integer. So I will pass any parameter here, maybe 90. Sorry. 90. And my second can be a string. So I will pass here ABC. अब यहाँ से control कहाँ जाएगा? It will find, compiler will search for the exact match. Exact match कहाँ है? यहाँ पे. Compiler will not go to default constructor. Compiler will find the exact match for this and the exact match is this one. So control will come here. Okay. यहाँ पे control आने के बाद R will be replaced with 90, N will be replaced with ABC and these will be as it is. मतलब roll number and name will get initialized with 90 and ABC. Any doubt? Now
No,
after this I will write down S2 dot display. Shall I execute this now? Any doubt with this parameterized constructor?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay. I have to tell you the copy constructor also. So I executed it. ये तो हमारा पहले का ही था. So मैंने यहाँ पे कुछ data डाल दिया. Fine. Now after this immediately देखो जैसे ही S2 यहाँ control आया उसके बाद ये चला उसका default constructor चला उसके बाद S2 पे आया S2 का parameterized constructor चला. Fine. S2 का parameterized constructor चला तो S2 dot roll में कितना गया 90. S2 dot name में कितना गया ABC and then after that I'm giving call to S1 dot display. Hence this value is displayed first. Sorry, this one. फिर हमने कॉल किया S1 dot insert and hence this is displayed. Then I'm giving call to S1 dot display and hence S1 का value display हुआ. After that I'm displaying S2 dot display. Hence इसका value यहाँ display हुआ. अगर आप ये चीज ऊपर कॉल करोगे, अगर मैंने ये चीज यहाँ पे कॉल कर दिया, तो क्या होगा? S1 and S2 का वैल्यू पहले डिस्प्ले होगा. सी S1 का कितना हुआ था डिफॉल्ट के टाइम 0 and XYZ एंड S2 का कितना हुआ 90 and ABC और मैंने डिस्प्ले कॉल किया तो वो डिस्प्ले हुआ. कंस्ट्रक्टर बस कंस्ट्रक्टर कॉल करके इनिशियलाइज कर रहा है बट डिस्प्ले कर रहा है क्या यहाँ पे? नहीं. Fine. I can write down the cout statement inside my constructor also. But मैंने यहाँ पे एक different member function add किया. That's it. Any doubt till this? Parameterized and a default constructor. Yes.
Ma'am, can we call that display function within the constructor?
No. मैंने कल ही आपको स्पेसिफिकली बताया था, इसलिए मैं बोलती हूँ आप थियरी अच्छे से पढ़ते जाओ. रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस व्हाट आर देयर दैट यू हैव टू टेक केयर. Okay, you cannot use constructor as a normal member function. Constructor is only used for initialization of an object. That's it. बाकी कुछ नहीं. Don't
Okay, ma'am.
don't go beyond the ethics of that code. These are the ethics of C++ programming and we need to follow it. Compiler doesn't understand these things. Okay. Don't use constructor as a normal member function. Just use constructor for initialization. ये मैं क्यों बता रही हूँ? Because when we are going to, increase our objects, when we are going to play with array of objects, or maybe the list, fine. In that case, the problem of memory segmentation is there. Fine. So वो problem reduce करने के लिए constructor will be more beneficial. You may not understand in this example because this is very simple. But जब आप pointers, arrays में बात करोगे तब आपको वो समझ में आएगा. So in that case you will understand how your member function is different from your normal constructor. So don't go beyond that. जितना definition है उसका उतना ही आपको करना है. Compiler doesn't understand these things. Okay. Every time whenever we are doing with any kind of programming language, we have certain ethics and we have to follow those ethics for programming. Okay. So यहाँ तक समझ में आया? Yes बेटा.
मैम अभी अपने डिस्प्ले फंक्शन को पब्लिक में किया है क्या?
Yes बेटा, किया ना मैंने पब्लिक में जब भी. मैं वो कंसेप्ट बता चुकी आपको. डिस्प्ले प्राइवेट एंड पब्लिक का. उसके बाद फिर मैं दूसरे कंसेप्ट पे आ गई बेटा. नहीं मैं दूसरे कंसेप्ट पे आ गई. आई एम मूविंग फास्टली. नो
ओके.
आप सब लोग ध्यान दो प्लीज. कॉन्सेंट्रेट हियर व्हाट आई एम सेइंग. एट द एंड आई विल शो यू दिस कोड. यू कैन टेक अ स्क्रीनशॉट ऑफ दिस कोड. नो इश्यू. पहले आप सुन लो व्हाट आई एम सेइंग. मैंने आपको बोला आप नोट डाउन करो पॉइंट्स, नॉट द कोड. समझ में आ रहा है आप लोग को? ओके. कंसेप्ट समझ में आ गया बेटा तो यू कैन इम्प्लीमेंट बाय योर साइड. अभी किसी को डाउट है यहाँ तक? So we had implemented a class, visibility modes, public and private. We had implemented default and parameterized constructor. We had implemented, invoking a member function outside the class, defining a member function outside the class. So अभी तक जितना पढ़ा है वो उतना हमने implement किया. One more topic is there, copy constructor. That also I will show you now. What is copy constructor? Copy constructor is a constructor which is having the same name as of your class name. The only thing is argument is object. Very good. So let's go here. I will take one more object S3. And what I want that S3 should be initialized with S2. So instead of doing it here, मैं उसको separate करती हूँ. I will do it separately here. Student S3. I want कि S3 में S2 का वैल्यू इनिशियलाइज्ड हो. तो नॉर्मली आप असाइन कैसे करते हो वैल्यू? विच ऑपरेटर यू यूज फॉर असाइनमेंट? Assignment operator. Equals. Okay, very good. Yes. So here I am using this simple. What is this? I am creating an object S3. तो जैसे ही मैंने S3 लिखा मतलब डिफॉल्ट कंस्ट्रक्टर कॉल होगा. बट उसके सामने सेमीकोलन है क्या? नहीं. इक्वल्स टू है मतलब कंपाइलर विल अंडरस्टैंड दैट देयर इज समथिंग बियॉन्ड दैट इक्वल टू, बिकॉज इक्वल टू इज एन बाइनरी ऑपरेटर. सो कंपाइलर अंडरस्टैंड दिस. इक्वल टू इज एन बाइनरी ऑपरेटर. तो उसके लेफ्ट हैंड साइड में अगर एक ऑपरेंड है तो राइट हैंड साइड में भी ऑपरेंड होगा. देन द कंपाइलर कंट्रोल विल मूव ऑन टू दिस साइड. So S2 मिला उसको and then the semicolon. So immediately compiler understands that I need to assign the value of right hand side to my left hand side. What is the value of S2? We had already initialized here. Okay. So compiler will just initialize the value of this to this. Now मुझे वो value display करना है. So I will use S3 dot display. बट डेफिनेशन इज मिसिंग. मैंने यहाँ कहीं डेफिनेशन लिखा है? मैंने यहाँ पे डिफॉल्ट का लिखा, पैरामीटराइज का लिखा, माय कॉपी कंस्ट्रक्टर इज मिसिंग. So let's write my copy constructor here. It will be student. What is the argument? Okay, which type of value you are assigning to this S3? Which type of value you are assigning to this S3? Object. Okay. So what you can do, यहाँ पे क्या आएगा? It will be student. Anything you can take. यहाँ पे मैंने लिया S. Now what will happen? Role will get assigned with S role and name will get assigned with S dot name. What do you mean by this? This one explicitly I am passing. तो ये क्या हो जाएगा? S2. You are calling copy constructor for which object? S3. तो ये implicit हो गया. Parameter कौन सा pass कर रहे हो? S2. So this is explicit. There is one more way to write this. I will tell you. Fine. There is one more way to write this and that is student. वो थोड़ा easy है. Student S3 in bracket S2. ये समझ में आया?
Yes, ma'am.
Now is it exactly similar to the prototype? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So I am calling a constructor, copy constructor for which argument? S2. तो यहाँ से कंट्रोल आपका जाएगा यहाँ पे. S किससे रिप्लेस्ड हो जाएगा? S2 से. तो S2 का रोल नंबर कहाँ चला जाएगा? S3 के रोल नंबर में. दिस इज इम्प्लिसिट. अंडरस्टूड कि ये S3 का है. एंड S2 का नेम कहाँ चला जाएगा? S3 के नेम में. And then I am giving call to display. यहाँ तक किसी को डाउट है? This line. You are simply giving a call to a function और आपने object पास किया है. That's it. और मैं उसको डिस्प्ले कर रही हूँ और यहाँ पे भी मैंने वही चीज किया, बाकी कुछ नहीं.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. यहाँ पे ये रेफरेंस मांगेगा. दिस इज एन एरर. वो एरर दे रहा है कि इट इज आस्किंग फॉर एन रेफरेंस बिकॉज ऑब्जेक्ट इज व्हाट व्हेन आई एम पास एन ऑब्जेक्ट ना, तो उसको ऑब्जेक्ट का लोकेशन लगेगा इंस्टेड ऑफ डायरेक्टली, बिकॉज सी ऑब्जेक्ट इज अ कलेक्शन ऑफ मेंबर एंड मेंबर फंक्शन, राइट? तो मैं पूरा का पूरा ऑब्जेक्ट भेज रही हूँ, तो मुझे कौन सा डेटा लेना है वो कंपाइलर may take it in the other way. So what happens no sometimes like यहाँ पे for such kind of thing मैं पूरा memory block ही भेज रही हूँ. Buffer object is my buffer anyway, it's a memory. So I may pass an reference to that also. Fine. So you can pass a reference. So now you can see यहाँ पे again I'm taking something. आया? Getting? ये ऊपर का सब ये कर दूं क्या? Shall I?
Yes, ma'am.
Just comment it so that there will be no confusion.
Yes, ma'am.
I had commented everything now. I'm just calling a default constructor for S1. I'm just calling a parameterized constructor for S2. Let me know आपका next class भी है, okay? Then a parameterized constructor for S2. So S2 की value कितनी है? 90 and ABC. And after this, I am just giving call to my copy constructor. So what copy constructor will do? It will just initialize the value of S2 to S3. And that's it. It did. कहाँ गया? Okay, where it is? Okay, here. Fine. So roll number is assigned to S3's roll number and name is assigned to S3's name. And that's what I printed here. अभी फिलहाल के लिए आप ये सिंटैक्स ध्यान में रखो. इट इज क्वाइट सिंपल, बट दिस इज वन मोर सिंटैक्स फॉर कॉपी कंस्ट्रक्टर. So this is called to copy constructor. Okay. Now यहाँ पे किसी को डाउट है डिफॉल्ट पैरामीटराइज एंड कॉपी. Why reference is needed? Because we are passing a whole buffer. अब object के अंदर we don't have an only one data type, right? उसके अंदर we have integer, string, maybe character, maybe double, maybe float, n number of data types, and the member functions also. So which data I need to retrieve, that is also important. आपको कौन सा data copy करना है, that is also important. You cannot copy the data of one function to another, right? So इसलिए आपको reference देना पड़ेगा उस memory block का. An object is nothing but a memory block. That's it. उस मेमोरी ब्लॉक में नेम रोल नंबर्स है, दूसरे मेमोरी ब्लॉक में दूसरा नेम एंड रोल नंबर है, लाइकवाइज. इसलिए हमने यहाँ पे रेफरेंस पास किया. ओके मतलब उस लोकेशन से ये किसका लोकेशन लेगा, S2 का लोकेशन. उस लोकेशन से डेटा रिट्राइव करके यहाँ डाल रहे. दैट्स इट, बाकी कुछ नहीं. एनी डाउट विद दिस डिफॉल्ट कंस्ट्रक्टर, पैरामीटराइज एंड कॉपी?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
If you wanted to take a screenshot, you can take. I will just open it from starting.
Ma'am, can you copy the code and put it in the chat box?
नहीं, आप स्क्रीनशॉट लोगे.
ठीक है.
I will try. होता है क्या वैसे कॉपी?
हाँ मैम होता है.
Yes, ma'am.
आया क्या पूरा देखो?
हाँ मैम आ गया.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. तो जितना हमने अभी तक देखा है रिलेटेड टू स्टार्टिंग विद ऑल दी फीचर्स, यहाँ पे एनकैप्सुलेशन भी आ गया, डेटा हाइडिंग भी आ गया, एवरीथिंग इज देयर नाउ. Abstraction is also there, right? The constructors are also there.
क्या लेक्चर
So I wish आपको अभी समझ में आए हैं A and B division, how we start with the normal coding of your C++.
यस प्रणव.
Yesterday many students they were saying, ma'am, you side by side demonstrate also. For that reason I demonstrated.
हाँ मैम
So
ऐसे
don't
अच्छे से
go
समझ रहे हैं.
blank
Okay,
in
okay.
the labs.
ठीक
One
है,
more
we'll wait
request,
for
don't
some time.
go blank. Fine. Whenever I'm taking the concept, what I'm
Nice, Ravi.
expecting is I'm showing you the small code also, right? So you can try to implement it by yourself also. एक छोटा छोटा part आप भी implement कर सकते हो. Once you know the syntax, you can try. अब यही कोड आप sample रखोगे and you can do the modifications in that code. तभी आपको समझ में आएगा. There are the various ways, various number of instructions I can add to this. Is it okay?
Yes ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
I'll
ma'am.
take attendance. Okay. Now, I wish today you all are satisfied with this.
Yes ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
मैम एक रिक्वेस्ट था.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. अब क्या
ऐसा डोंट
request
टेक
है
इट
भाई?
इन द रॉन्ग वे बट ऐसा डाउट पूछने को डर लगता है मैम.
पूछने को डर लगता है तो फिर कैसे पता चलेगा भाई मुझे कि तुमको डाउट है या नहीं है?
मैम आप क्वेश्चन करते हो ना, फिर आता नहीं है तो कैसे बताएंगे.
You raise your hand या तो फिर बोलो चैट बॉक्स में.
नहीं आप वापस क्रॉस क्वेश्चन करते हो ना फिर.
तो मेरा तो काम है ना करना. आप डरते हो तो इसका मतलब ये थोड़ी ना है कि आई शुड नॉट आंसर, आई शुड नॉट क्वेश्चन यू.
मैम आता रहता तो पूछ लेते ना मैम.
नहीं आता तो दैट्स योर प्रॉब्लम, राइट?
मैम इसलिए तो डाउट पूछ रहे हैं.
आई एम नॉट गेटिंग व्हाट यू आर सेइंग.
मैम अगर डाउट पूछते हैं ना तो आप क्रॉस क्वेश्चन करते हो ना, तो फिर डर लगता है कि आप क्या पूछोगे, नहीं आए तो वगैरह सब.
नहीं, क्रॉस क्वेश्चन इन द सेंस, अगर मैंने कोई कंसेप्ट आपको कल बताया, ठीक है, तो वो कंसेप्ट आपके ध्यान में नहीं रहता और नेक्स्ट टाइम आज आप मुझे कल का पूछ रहे हो. व्हाई यू डिडंट आस्क मी दैट यस्टरडे व्हेन वी वर इन द सेम फ्लो?
सब नए नए ना मैम, तो ऐसा आता थोड़ी है एक दिन में सब. वो तो प्रैक्टिस
आई एम नॉट
करेंगे उसके
एक्सपेक्टिंग
बाद.
कि आपको आता है, मैंने ऐसा बोला ही नहीं.
अभी आज आपने ये सीखा तो इसका प्रैक्टिस करेंगे, उसके बाद डाउट आएगा तो कल ही पूछेंगे ना मैम.
One more thing, A and B division students, just listen. We are into the autonomy and we have a schedule, right? तो आपका IE1 है, मतलब इंटरनल इवैल्यूएशन है in the third week of November. Before that, I need to complete 2 units. Fine. So मैंने कल भी आपको रिक्वेस्ट किया, मैं आज भी आपको रिक्वेस्ट कर रही हूँ. In the lectures, if I'm going to take this kinds of coding and hands-on, it is not possible for me to complete your syllabus within that particular schedule. देन अगर मैंने 2 यूनिट्स आपको IE1 में रखा एंड इफ आई एम नॉट एबल टू कंप्लीट द सिलेबस बिकॉज ऑफ दीज रीजंस यू हैव टू स्टडी बाय योरसेल्फ. इज इट ओके विथ ऑल ऑफ यू?
Yes, ma'am.
Only you are saying yes, ma'am. What about others? Are you going to take the responsibility of all the students in A and B division?
हम अभी तो सिर्फ
May I know your name, beta? May I know your name?
प्रथमेश महाजन.
Okay, Prathamesh Mahajan. Are you going to take the responsibility of other students as well?
मैम अभी पूछा आपने तो मैंने सिर्फ बताया yes मैम.
आप लोग भी थोड़ा feasibility सोचो. That's what I'm asking. I'm saying it. Okay. एंड अगर थियरी है सो आई एम गोइंग टू टेक इट. मैंने कल भी आपको बोला, मैंने फर्स्ट क्लास में भी बोला था, यू आर गोइंग टू गेट एवरीथिंग. This is not the the thing like I'm just taking a theory and I am expecting that you all will do the coding by yourself. This is not the expectation from my side. Okay, this is not the first time we people are taking this subject, so we know that how the subject should be conducted. Is it okay? It is very important when we are talking, when you are thinking, or when we are thinking as per your placement. So C++ and Java, these are the basic two subjects on which your placements will be based on. So even we know these things, but there are certain limitations also. So what we have planned, actually I had planned in that way, like let me complete some part of theory, and once you understand that theory very well, we can go with the implementation. अगर मैं बस कोडिंग ही करती रहूंगी, नॉट थियरी, देन व्हाट अबाउट द थियरी एग्जाम? हाउ यू आर गोइंग टू राइट द थियरी एग्जाम? You are getting my concern? If you are able to do the things by yourself, theory things, then I will do the coding only. No issue. But दोनों एकदम से possible नहीं है. You have to keep a patience. Faculty are responsible. They are going to do all the things. They know how the things should be conducted. It is for I am talking about the programming languages. Okay. Now,
मैम आप PDF कब अपलोड करने वाले हो?
Let me complete this topic and then I will upload it. Is there any issue with you, all of you, that you need it very urgently?
Yes मैम, वो थोड़ा रिवीजन करने को.
रिवीजन करना है आप लोग को. ओके. So अभी तक मैंने जितना पढ़ाया है, are you getting those things? Because yesterday in the PBL lab, when I took the A1 and A2 batch, number of students were there. They were not understood. They were not able to answer even the class objects and nothing. Many students. मतलब जितना पढ़ाया, they were just sitting ideally in the class. Okay, let it be. I will share the PDF today.
Okay.
Chalo, okay. I'll just download the attendance sheet and then you can leave.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
सर
Thank you.
उपस झाले झालं की नाही